So again, today's opener, the first part, the solve for y, is not going to be part of the quiz. But the second part of your opener, the back side of your opener, is going to be what your quiz looks like today. Let's take a look at the first problem, though. So as Michael told us, the directions are solve for y. If we're going to solve for y, that means I'm going to circle the variable y. I'm going to draw my line of equality. Now, my goal is to get that y by itself. So if my goal is to get the y by itself, what else do I have to get rid of here?
The minus. It puts her into plus 6.
Okay, so I'm going to have to get, well, we're going to do something before that, though. I'm going to have to get rid of a minus 6. What else am I going to have to get rid of, though?
A 3.
The 3x. Now, this minus 6y, that 6 is touching the y. So what does that mean to do? Multiply. So according to SADMAP, where do I start? Do I start with that 3 to get rid of it or that 6? According to SADMAP. Remember SADMAP, we have subtraction, addition, division, multiplication, exponents, and parentheses. So looking here, to get the y by itself, we know we're getting rid of the negative 6 and the 3x. So I'm looking at my s. Do I have any subtraction?
Yes.
No. Because that negative 6 means to what? Because it's touching the y.
Oh.
Multiply. So that's that little confusing part there. So no, I don't have any subtraction because that negative 6, y, means to multiply. So then the next one, do I have any addition? Yeah, right here. This 3x is a positive 3x. So how do I get rid of a positive 3x? I'm minus 3x.
Just to let you know, I wrote my name.
Okay. So whatever I do to one side, you do to the other. Now, can I combine 12 minus 3x? Why not, Kaylon? Yeah, meaning they're not like terms. So what I like to do is always write my number with my variable first. So if I'm going to write my number with the variable first, I'm going to bring down that negative 3x, then the 12. What do I need to put in front of that 12? What kind of 12 is that? A positive. So we're going to keep it a positive. And then on my left side, what do I bring down? The left side of the line of equality, what do I bring down? Say it again. Yeah, negative 6y. Okay.
So
second step. Yes.
basically, when you get over here to the other side, all you're doing is putting the addition sign and bringing down the top number.
Yeah, because if you have a number and there's not a sign in front of it, we know it's a positive, which is a plus sign.
All right.
Okay, now, my y is still not by itself. I have to get rid of that negative 6. Don't let it trick you. Is it subtracting 6? Does that mean subtract 6? No. Because the 6 is touching the y, it means to, which the opposite of multiply is, divide. So we're going to divide each side by what number? What? What kind of 6 is that? Negative 6. Take that negative with it. So my left side, I bring down my y. Is my y by itself now? Yeah. And my right side, when you add and subtract, you can only add and subtract like terms. However, when you multiply and divide, that is not the same. When you multiply and divide, they do not have to be like terms. So here on this side, I'm taking negative 3x plus 12 divided by negative 6. I can take that negative 3x divided by negative 6. It doesn't matter that they don't have the same variable when you multiply and divide only. So what you're going to do in your calculator, you're going to type in negative 3 divided by negative 6. What happens when you do that?
So a lot of numbers will come up.
Because you're going to get a decimal. You can't do that. Yeah. So what we're going to do, remember when we have a fraction like that and it becomes a decimal, we leave it as a... Nah. Do we write our answers in decimal form? No, we write them as a fraction in, and fractions aren't very much fun because we always have to put them in what?
A box. A line.
Can I just write this fraction? Hey guys, you need to focus. Michael, if you can't focus, I'm going to ask you to step out. So if I can't take 3 divided by 6 because I get a decimal, I'm going to have to leave it as 3 over 6. But I can never write a fraction as a final answer unless it's in simplest form. Well, is this 3 over 6 in simplest form?
No.
No. So I'm going to have to reduce it or simplify it. So you can either one, use your calculator, how I showed you, or two, think about what can 3 and 6 both be divided by? 3, which would equal, if I take them both divided by 3, I'm going to get 1 over, you're so close.
2.
So 1/2.
1/2. Yeah. You good on test?
So stop and listen. So we're going to have 1/2. Now listen, 2 negatives equal a, so that's going to stay a positive 1/2. So I'm going to come back over here, put the 1/2. What am I missing with that 1/2? What did that 3 have behind it? The x. Now, I come to my next number. I have positive 12 divided by negative 6. What's positive 12 divided by negative 6?
Oh, divided by
You guys all have calculators. All you have to do is in that calculator type 12 divided by negative 6.
I said 2.
Oh, you said 2? What kind of 2 is it? Negative. Now, the y it's by itself, box it, that's our final answer.
Just have little shipping too.
I don't like this one.
You are going to work up to this. This format here is called slope form, okay? We're going to see equations like this throughout this whole triad. All right, flip it over to the back. There you go. So flip it over to the back. Now this is what your quiz is going to be over. Look closely. Read the directions. So the first part of the directions say, label the x-axis and the y-axis on the coordinate plane on your opener. So this is going to be a point for your quiz. Again, this will be a point for your quiz, labeling the x and y-axis. So we have an axis that runs this way, an axis that runs this way. Which axis runs vertical, up and down?
Why?
Y. So I'm going to label that Y.
I always hated these.
Trying to remember vertical or horizontal. Okay, so if my vertical axis, the one that runs up and down, is Y, my
X.
horizontal one is going to be X. So there's your first point on your quiz that you're going to take today. The second part says plot each of the following points on the coordinate plane and label each with the appropriate label. Now, just a couple of things. If I start in the middle here, what's this middle called? Where the x and the y axis intersect? The origin. If I go right on the x-axis, is that negative or positive? Positive. If I start at the origin and I go left, it's going to be a, okay? If I start at the origin and I go up on the y, it's, if I go down, it's, okay.
Wait, so what's the right? It's negative.
What's that?
The right negative?
So the right is positive. The left is negative. If you want, you could even label that on your axis. If you want to go ahead and put plus and minus
That's what I do.
and plus, Kaylon, that's good though, because I tell you guys all the time, I'm a visual learner. Those visual cues help me remember which direction to go. So we're going to look at our graph here. We're going to plot point A. So we're going to start at the origin. Remember, when we're doing ordered pairs, what comes first, y or x or y? X, then y. Why does x come first?
I thought.
Why does x come first? Why does x come before y? Why isn't it yx?
X, Y, Z.
Yeah, it's how it goes in the alphabet. It's just the order. Okay, so I start at my origin. My x is -3. So which direction do I go? Say it again. I left 3. Then what? And then graph it. So left 3 because it's negative, then up 5 because it's positive. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is this the quiz?
It's going to be very similar to the quiz. Now, I plotted my point, but what do I need to do next to the point I just plotted? Put that A on it. Bless you. Okay. I'm ready to move to point B. So, B, Jalen, bless you. I'm going to start at my origin. Tell me what I do. Okay. Perfect. Right 2, down 2. And then I'm going to label that B. So because it's a positive 2, I start at my origin. For my x, I go right 2 on the x-axis. Then y, I go down 2 because it's a negative. Raise your hand if you think you can do number 3. It's a little bit trickier.
I can do number 3.
All right, Michael, where do I start?
Place a C. Oh yeah.
So where do I start? That's called the,
The X axis.
well, touch your finger where I'm going to start. So that's called the origin, right? It's where the X and Y intersect. So the X is 0, so what do I do for the 0? I just stay put.
Down 2, 3.
Why do I go down 3?
It's negative.
It's negative. Nice job. And what do I label it?
C.
Perfect. Nice job, Michael. All right. So my left side of the room here has been pretty strong. Oh, Daisha's been talking. So has Kaylon. I guess I can't say that. Let's hear some from this area. Like
Me.
AJ. Letter D. I start where? Okay. Nice job, AJ.
So what should we start out with first? You did the negative.
Always start with your X first. Do you want to go over and show Damon where to start? Okay, and what do I label this one as, AJ?
Can I do the rest with the class?
Jaden. Letter E. Where do I start? And I go which direction? How many? And then what? And label it?
Oh, let me do F.
All right, Kaylon. Letter F.
You go, you be on the origin. You go to your right. You go over 3.
Which direction, left or right? To the right. You told me that.
Right.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Over to the right 3 times.
Okay.
And then you can't go nowhere. So it's this. You draw your
So we're going to graph that point. We're going to plot that point on the x-axis because there's no y value. Good.